So, Adriano Goldman, who is HBO's director of photography for the Harry Potter TV show, has recently announced that the end of episode 1 is going to show Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. I think that gives us a really nice end point if we can try and guess what's going on in season 1. Now, we're going to have a quick look at lots of different scenes in what I think will be in episode 1. And we're going to look at how the layout is going to work. So the layout, I've gone back and got a chance to rewatch episode 1 of Game of Thrones. And it is very, very good. But also, it has a cold open, has a title, then 19 scenes afterwards, just over an hour long. Can we try and create an episode 1 of the HBO Harry Potter series out of the knowledge we've got? A few extra scenes that are hinted to in the books, and have a start point and a cold open, and the end point where they get to Hogsmeade and then they go up to the castle. Let's have a look at what we've got. I do have a few timestamps, so let's just quickly go through all of it and we can see where we're at towards the end. So I think we are going to get the cold open, and you are going to get Vernon's journey to work. What we're going to see is we're going to see what the world looks like through his point of view, through a stubborn, arrogant Muggle's point of view. So he's going to work the day after Voldemort has been killed, and he is going to see lots of people who are strangely dressed in their capes, their purple capes, their colourful capes, and they're going to be celebrating and being really happy. And it's going to be really weird and strange for him to see that on the radio. There'll be strange things being announced by the newsreaders. And then whilst he's on his lunch break, you are going to have Vernon be approached by someone. And whilst they approach him, he'll overhear someone else talking about the Potters, and especially Harry Potter. So when he does get home from work, he is going to be sat down with Petunia. More strange things come from the news, and he will ask about her side of the family, which he never does. And she'll get a little bit cold. She'll not really reply. She'll probably just give like a one-word answer. Yeah, fine. And then I think the scene will move outside, where you're going to have Dumbledore and McGonagall chatting about how McGonagall doesn't approve of these Muggles, about how Albus doesn't really know what he's doing, about what's just happened in the wizarding world. And then you'll have Hagrid turn off on Sirius's bike, and they'll then hand over Harry Potter to the Dursleys, and then it'll go straight into the titles. Let's have a brief chat about the titles. I personally really like the Lost style titles, which last about 5 minutes. The HBO Harry Potter titles, the Game of Thrones HBO titles, which last nearly 2 minutes long, I think are great as well. And if Harry Potter wants to copy that, I've got no issue with it. It'll be nice to see it evolve over the seasons. So, for example, we get to season 3, I'd expect to see the Marauders map. That's just something that I'd expect to see from season 3. So it'll be nice to see how that evolves. Now, starting off scene 1, we're about 9 minutes in. So scene 1 to me is not going to start with Harry. You're going to start with Hagrid and Dumbledore at Hogwarts, either in the headmaster's office or the staff room, and you've got Dumbledore instructing Hagrid that he has to go and get Harry. The Muggles are probably treating him poorly. It's going to be hard work to get him, but he's got to go and get him and try and do it the right way. And then if you absolutely have to use force, then do force at the end. And as he's leaving, he's probably saying to him, don't forget your pink umbrella. Because Dumbledore 100% knows that Hagrid's snapped wand is in that pink umbrella. He just knows everything. He's always got a plan for everything. He knows it's in there. So it'll be a nice little Easter egg for those fans that know, and maybe like a wink to everyone else. It'll be really, really good. It would also be nice if Dumbledore also explains that he can't go himself because he's got to go and see Nicholas Flamel. A lot of us have seen those pictures of Dumbledore seeing Flamel. Now, I live in the West Country in England, and they filmed not far from where I live. So we've all seen those images. Hopefully we get that really early on. It'd be interesting to see in the films or in the TV show how it's going to go. Now, scene 2, I think you're going to get Harry at school, at his Muggle school, being bullied. You're going to have him running through the corridors, running for his life, being picked on, being punched, physically abused, emotionally abused. So it's about really making his life look miserable. It would also be nice if we have the scene where he's running to escape and he gets to the bin area and he ends up on the roof by apparition. That would be really, really good. It would be nice if we get that nice loud crack noise as well that they have when they apparate. Whether they put that in, I'm not entirely sure, but it'd be interesting to see if they do that in this episode. I think that scene's going to end with him at home with Petunia, absolutely going mental at him, screaming at him, shouting at him, telling him how it's his fault that Dudley beats people up, how it's his fault that Dudley is always mean to people, and she shouldn't have phone calls at home because he is being beat up, or if he's on the roof being silly. So it'll be interesting to see how they play that. And that scene will end with him going to bed after having his hair cut off by Petunia, telling him that he's nothing special. I think that then leads us nicely on to Dudley's birthday the next day. I think as soon as he comes out, his hair is going to be regrown, and that is going to set Petunia off again. And it's interrupted by the phone call from Mrs. Fig saying she can no longer look after him. The trip to the zoo, we could talk about this for about an hour, but it only really needs to have a couple of different things. It does need to have the vanishing glass. It does need to have Harry talking about his dreams, about flying motorcycles. It does need to have Harry being given an ice cream or an ice pole. That's really, really important. If we don't get that, we definitely riot. That's really, really important. And then when they get back, it will be Vernon this time, screaming, shouting, yelling, and then throwing him into his cupboard. And I think we see that in the trailer. Okay, I think we see him being thrown in and then crying himself to sleep. That's really, really important. We've got 20 minutes there of Harry's life, and it is just miserable. And it's really important they portray that because it's how the rest of the season is going to give him friends, make his life better. He is the chosen one. Okay, and it's really important they make it look where he's come from to where he's going to go. The next scene, I think we're going to get Dumbledore visiting the Femelles, talking about why he's been invited there, what the Femelles want to happen. Maybe there's been dark wizards lurking around. They know what they want, so they let Dumbledore know exactly where the Philosopher's Stone is and how he's going to get it and what he needs to go and get it. And that again just sets up the season. Scene 5. I think we get our first letter from Hogwarts. Now, I think when Harry walks into the room and it's snatched off him, we need to see everyone's horror, especially when they realise that they know exactly what they've been doing. They've been keeping him in a cupboard under the stairs. It's really important that we have that fear and that they move him into the spare room. They move him up there quite quickly and go, right, let's put you up there out of the cupboard, move yourself up. And we see obviously Dudley having a tantrum and things like that, but it's really important they start to understand that people know that they've been mistreating him. A short scene 6, really, really short. It's just Harry sat in his room, yeah, and agonising over the letter that he didn't open. There's a bit in the book about this. It'd be nice if they can portray this in the TV show somehow. We'll see how that goes. But it's like, I think it's like 30 seconds I've got here for that scene. And then I've got scene 7, which is like the longest part of this point in the show. And it is the letters that keep on arriving. It is how Vernon reacts to the letters coming. It is how they go to the hotel. Then how in the morning they have more letters. And how they go to the lighthouse. And how it's the day before Harry's birthday. And it's that whole trip and that whole experience with the Dursleys and Harry and about how the letters are coming, and it's getting more and more, and they can get more and more worked up, and he's getting closer to opening it. And at the very end of that scene, we get Rubeus Hagrid entering the lighthouse. So that next scene is also quite a long one, where we have Hagrid given the letter, we have the use of the pink umbrella, we have the Dursleys and Hagrid having a bit of a back and forth, and we finally get Harry open that letter and being told that he is a wizard. What we need to see in this is in the films, I think they just take them straight out of the lighthouse and they go to London. I think in the books they fall asleep there, and that means in the morning we get the Daily Prophet being delivered, and Harry paying the owl, And then the trip across the water, which yet again, Rubius Hagrid uses his pink umbrella to speed up that process. That, to me, that second part there is scene 9, a really short one of just Harry waking up and them getting the trip away from the lighthouse. Scene 10. Now, we've seen bits of scene 10 in the trailer, and this is a really, really important scene. It's the journey to the Leaky Cauldron. I've got Hagrid telling Harry exactly about his parents, and that's really, really important. He's only really had angry, miserable people around him throughout his whole life. So Hagrid's telling him, actually, no, your parents were great people. They were really, really great. They died for what they believed in, and what they believed in was good, and it freed the world. It was fantastic. It was great. I think that's really important because he's going to meet Malfoy in a bit, and Malfoy is a pure blood, and he's the complete opposite. And we'll get to that later on, but it's really important that they explain to us exactly what Harry's family did and how they helped him and what he's got to live up to. It's really, really good. We then, obviously, this is still the same scene. He gets the Leaky Cauldron, he gets to meet Quirrell, he gets to meet the people in there, he gets to see how important he is to the people in the magical world. I think that's really, really going to be interesting to see his reaction, the reaction of the people around them. Now we get to the fun part. We get to Diagon Alley. And I've only got a really short scene. It's about a minute and a half, and it's just going to be fun. Vibrant colours, happy people running up and down, balloons everywhere. It's just going to be really, really nice magical experience just to see. You're going to have the brooms, you're going to have the cauldrons, you're going to have big witches' hats, you're going to have capes. It's going to be fantastic to see on screen. All those different colours are going to be really good. And they're just going to make their way up to Gringotts. And whilst they're walking up to Gringotts, we get to see all these really cool things in the magical world going on around them. Scene 12, quite a big scene. We've got Gringotts, we've got the introduction to goblins. We get that really cool trip on the minecart. And whilst it's going, it'd be cool if we could see some dragons, get to see some maybe some different magical creatures in and around Gringotts. We get to see Harry collecting his gold that he needs for the school year. And we get to see Hagrid getting the Philosopher's Stone. That's obviously really, really important. Scene 13. We've got Madame Malkins. We've got a brief conversation with Draco Malfoy. It's only a short scene, but we get to see Harry making his mind up on what he thinks is right and wrong, listening to Draco, listening to him talk about how he's better than everyone else and how he's just a great person. And Harry said, they're going, I can't believe people are still like this in the Wizarding world. You're so much like the Dursleys. And he's making his mind up that actually, maybe I don't want to be friends with people like you. And I think that's a really, really important scene that we're going to see in Diagon Alley. Also a really important scene. Ollivander's the next scene. Again, another shortish scene. We're going to see him getting his wand. We're going to see how it's explained that it's a twin wand with Voldemort's and how he's looking forward to seeing what he does. Ollivander's such a big part of the Wizarding world. It'll be great to see how that's portrayed and how the shop looks. It's going to be a fantastic spectacle. We then get, obviously, Hedwig as well, which is going to be amazing. And then I think the TV show is going to send him back to the Dursleys. And in the films, they take him straight to King's Cross. But I think they're going to take him back to the Dursleys. And there'll be a little bit about, oh, we've got an owl, that can't stay here. And there's going to be like a bit of conflict. But now they're a little bit scared of him now. I think it'll be really interesting to see just how that plays out. The next scene, again, another really short one. Harry asking for a lift to King's Cross for the year. Him seeing the ticket, platform 9 3/4, and just laughing at them and going, look, that's obviously not real yet. Do you know what? We'll take you, we'll drop you off. And they do, and they just leave him and they abandon him there. And I think, again, that'll be interesting to see just how little the Dursleys like him. Okay? It'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. The next scene I've got, it's relatively big. King's Cross. Platform 9 3/4. I think two really important locations in the Wizarding world. It'll be interesting to see how that's played out. Get to see the Weasleys for the first time. Get to see him going through the wall for the first time. It's going to be really, really good to see that played out on the screen. Slightly different actors. Different way. Same location. It's going to be great for people to see. And it's going to be really, really, really good on a TV screen. I've then got maybe the longest scene of the entire show, and it's really, really important. You've got the Hogwarts Express. You've got Harry meeting Ron, who obviously they're going to turn into be the best friends throughout the whole season. You've got the chocolate frog scene where he's going to be introduced to, obviously, Dumbledore on the card. And I think when they turn the card over, they're going to show us the paragraph about Nicholas Flamel and the Philosopher's Stone. I think they're going to show us that. I don't think they're going to read it out, but it's like another Easter egg for those that know. It'll be really good to see. You're going to have Scabbers. You're going to have Ron trying to do a spell on Scabbers. Hermione over here and coming in looking for the frog. They're going to be talking. Then you'll have Draco Malfoy coming in, and obviously he's heard that Harry's on the train. He wants to befriend him. He wants to make him part of his crew, but he's already ruined that, because back at Madame Malkin's, he's belittled other people around him, and he does it again. He belittles the Weasleys, and obviously Harry's already good friends with him. So he's just showing that we've got our villain for the first couple of seasons, and we've got Harry, our hero, and they're going to clash throughout the whole 7, 8, 9 seasons. So it's going to be really good to see how that is set up. And then we come to the last scene. I've got Hagrid collecting the first years in Hogsmeade, walking them down, having little conversations with them, speaking to Seamus, speaking to Luna, speaking to Neville, speaking to Crabbe, speaking to Gold, speaking to all the first years that we're going to get to know really, really well. And then they get on the boats, and then as they sail off, it will look up into the castle, and they'll have Hogwarts in the evening lit up. It's going to be a really, really good spectacle. That is what I think you'll get the end credits. Let me know, guys, what you think of that episode. Do you think we've got enough in there to start the story? Do you think there's other bits we can maybe have added in? I was going to try and get Malfoy Manor in there somehow, because I know we're going to see it, but I wasn't entirely sure where I could have fitted it in. But guys, let me know. Let me know what you think. I do have like a few extra bits on top. Guys, I'll happily do like episode 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on if there's interest in it. I've had this idea for a couple of months now, but obviously hearing we had an endpoint for episode 1, it really, really tweaked my interest to get this sorted. Anyway, guys, hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you next time.